Okay, so we got an update. Well, I mean, I didn't really check out the past update for what was happening with the Paimon VA, and this time it says that it's going even crazier. So something gets even crazier. So I'm gonna check this out right here to see what is the shit she's saying. So let's check it.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today we've got a very interesting update on Paimon VA Karina Boetker. While Karina's activity on social media seems to have been decreasing ever since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing, where a number of English voice actors got exposed for being manipulative, toxic, etc., etc., it seems like
I don't know if this has to do with the past video that I missed. So I'm just jumping in blind on this one to know what the hell was happening in the last one that he was uploaded.
instead, Karina's been very active over on Blue Sky, where Karina and other voice actors in that clique seem to be very upset at those who criticize their actions. Of course, I'm talking.
So she's mad that people were actually just criticizing her. That's what she's mad about. That's just sad. If that's the one thing that's gonna be like holding you back, wow.
Talking about actions such as the harassment of Jacob Takanashi, how a number of these sort of voice actors were lying about their strike, and how it
Got a call. Hold up. And start.
turned out to not even be an official strike, and instead what they're now calling a collective work refusal. So yeah, things like that. Stuff that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, on and off. Before we go to Blue Sky and take a look at
So she wanted to start a strike, but not an official one. I don't even think that could go right in any other way.
some of that recent stuff, let's hop over to Karina's TikTok and check out Karina's last TikTok post. Well, not really the post itself, but the comments on it. We can now see comments such as, please ignore all the positive comments. Spoiler alert, there are basically no positive comments anymore anyways.
Can't wait for
Paimon's VA recast. Alcoga is better VA than you. Can't wait for the non-problematic VA. Kenichi is better than Paimon, by the way.
I'm not even gonna lie, it's always these English VAs that just be ruining it for other people. Like, I, for one, don't even listen to English VAs. I just stick to, like, either they're natives or just switch to another dialect, either Spanish or some other shit.
I hope Paimon has a new VA. I've never hoped that someone would be fired
They still gotta get Paimon out of the fucking game, cause damn, she's annoying.
and never hired again so much in my life. Get out. Did you find a new job? So this whole time there's no strike. The VAs, especially you, have been throwing a fit, bullied someone who's actually doing his job, mind you, needs the money because he has a family. The rest gets cut off here. I don't know. I can't see the rest of it. Continuing a little bit more though, and yeah, these are all the most liked comments on that TikTok. Can't wait for your replacement. Waiting for your replacement. How are we more mature than a 35-year-old woman? Don't listen to the
She's 35 and she's acting like this?
positive comments. But yeah, I can't even see any positive comments anyways. We gotta recast Paimon. No one wants someone who bullies another VA for something they didn't know. Now then, let's sit back and see the comments roll in. At this point, just pretend nothing happened until the end of the line. You ruined the strike for all your fellow VAs. It goes beyond Kenichi VA now. This is the point of no return anyways. So it's actually pretty hilarious, the stuff that people are coming up with and commenting on there. And that's just a very small sample size. There are literally hundreds of comments just like those. I mean, to be even more specific, there's like 700 plus comments that all seem to be critical. And that's just on Karina's latest video. It seems like that same thing's been happening on a number of...
So I'm assuming he's gonna get to it now, but I'm assuming that that's also going to all her past videos. Or her recently past videos.
videos that Karina has made since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing occurred. Okay, you know what? Here's one more comment I want to show you guys. This is from a different video. So this person says to Karina, "We all love you so much." We all say as our wooden noses grow. I thought that one was pretty clever. But okay, now we'll hop over to Blue Sky and take a look at this little rant from Karina. Responding to this person, Crystal, and saying, so you're gonna ignore that you said these alt-right anti-union talking points? You can see a deleted post. So presumably Crystal ended up deleting the post or something. We got these screenshots. Let's see what this says. Oh my gosh, that's huge. We can't actually see
that
it.
is
Okay, let
really
me fix
zoomed
that
in.
somehow. It says, alt-right nonsense? I'm not the right. I only bought politics since a global game is at stake for being unionized. Presumably they mean I'm not on the right and I've only brought up politics. since the global game is at stake for being unionized, which would make other countries be upset. I seriously can't believe you think that anyone disagreeing is alt-right. Disgusting behavior by you. And the second screenshot saying, still shouldn't be union, because being union affects other countries' laws and stuff as well. So like I said, Karina and other VAs are upset on their Blue Sky accounts with people who are criticizing their union rhetoric. That takes us back to this thread where we can once again see Karina responding to.
And it's just union workers, huh? That's just be doing all this thing? Because I've never seen anybody independent doing all this.
That saying, so you're going to ignore that you said these alt-right anti-union talking points? To which she gets into it with this other guy, Eric. Eric saying, those opinions are not alt-right. You're using a label incorrectly to deflect and discredit a different opinion. Why not ask why they believe what they do? If they are wrong, then provide information, not opinions. And they might change their view. Help us learn and be open to learning from others. But Karina says this. Dane saying that an American union, someone has control over another. Wait, hold on, what? Saying that an American union, someone has control over another country's laws is in fact an anti-union alt-right talking point. Not an opinion, because it is literally not possible. If unions had control over other countries, then fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every McDonald's worker in the
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not even understanding what the hell she's saying.
US make way more money and have healthcare. Wait, that was such weird phrasing. What the frick?
Yes, even he's confused.
If unions had control over other countries' fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every. This seems like it could be a copy pasta, bro. Like one of those nonsensical copy pastas.
She's just yapping a yap.
I'm gonna try one last time. If unions had control over other countries, then fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every McDonald's worker in the US make way more money and have healthcare. Okay. So yeah, then Eric responds and says to Karina, your words, including the screenshot we'll take a look at.
Damn.
Unions quote unquote influence each other. If Hoyo signs the SAG contract, SAG could influence unions in other countries. Hoyo could have multiple unions in other countries banging down their door with more contracts.
Yes.
Not all of them will be fair and reasonable. Influence can be harmful. And the screenshot included of Karina saying this just the other day. And SAG doesn't have control over other unions in other countries. Unions influence each other, but it's the same thing like the British Actors Union also influences us. That just happens because actors work together. And then Karina goes off saying, China doesn't have unions. We can't influence anything there. Also, it's as much influence as an influencer telling you to go buy a certain product. They can't bargain on the behalf of workers in another country. Not how that works. Like when the British Union for VAs gets a certain perk, that might influence us.
Yes, it's gonna influence all the other peoples to try to either get more or same but more benefits.
American VAs to ask for that same perk. But that's like how the frickin' internet works. That is not SAG going on behalf of the workers, which they can't do in other countries. You think it's bad that workers would fight for better working conditions if they see people in certain countries having better working conditions? Because right now, us in the US, we are actually asking for the same protections our Chinese actors are getting. They influenced us. See how that works? Eric responds, saying, no, I don't think
They got... I didn't even know the China VA had unions.
it's bad to fight for better working conditions. I think your heart is in the right place, but your interactions with people discussing concerns are really making things worse.
Yes, the fact that she's just saying all that in her TikTok, and then just at the end of that just say that y'all was dumb, and then think nothing's gonna happen after all that.
Karina responds, saying, again, if people are bringing up alt-right anti-union nonsense, like this person originally brought up, that SAG can control other countries' laws, which they can't, that is not a person that is arguing in good faith, and pointing out that this person did that is how conversations work. Eric says, stop labeling someone else's opinion as alt-right just because you don't agree with it or understand it. I keep trying to...
Yes, they just keep blaming everything from being either right, like so far right, or just right. Even people in the middle are just being labeled as right.
extend the courtesy to you that you're refusing to give to others. Nobody is bringing your political views into question or dismissing your opinion because they disagree. Karina says, stop trying to label an alt-right talking point as exactly what it is. You're actually not being courteous. Dismissing the truth is actually not courteous at all. I just didn't know, like,
is she sane?
like Karina was one of these people who constantly goes off about like, oh, that's alt-right, this is alt-right, blah, 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 blah. So I find that interesting. Here's something else interesting. Because we can see Karina also responding to Noah Gibson saying exactly this. Noah Gibson responding to a deleted post, presumably the one that Karina was responding to before and going off on before that other individual, Eric, was trying to defend the person that Karina was going off on, who deleted the post. And Noah Gibson, if you watch my prior segments on the Genshin VA stuff, you might remember this person because they gave us one of the most hilarious quotes in the entire Genshin VA situation, which is saying a lot. So back in my video titled Genshin VA for Paimon has complete lost it, we had Karina making that excuse of like, oh, it was just AI. That video.
So it's just going by what she was saying in the first one, talking about that it was AI and all that. When she was talking about some other video
of me wasn't actually me, right? Like you can see here. Oh yeah, Noah Gibson said, so this is AI and you've never said this? I agree that YouTubers don't know anything though. Linking to that video of Karina's crash out, which Karina said, yes, that is AI. And yes, the YouTubers do know it. They just don't care. But then, going back to where we just left off right here, someone responded, Korn specifically, saying, is this not your TikTok account? And linking to that very crash out video on Karina's TikTok account, to which Noah Gibson then said, at Karina, this is bad. You gotta say something fast. You gotta say something fast, Karina.
And I'm assuming she did. I'm assuming she tweeted something below that.
This is bad. They have evidence. You know, stuff that we're allergic to. Evidence. Oh no. Let me also mention this really quick because I forget if I mentioned this before, so I'm just going to stuff it here to be safe. But yeah, Noah Gibson does claim to also be a voice artist. Is that like a voice actor, I guess? But yeah, voice artist.
He probably
and
is.
So now going back to the current stuff, we've got Noah Gibson. That person, once again, Karina seems to like this person a lot. Let's see. Noah Gibson says, you don't have to be alt-right to fall for anti-union propaganda. Unions are net positive things. I'm in a union at my workplace, so I know firsthand how much they can improve your work environment and wages. You are heavily uninformed by whoever keeps feeding you false information. Karina says exactly this. There is literally verifiable evidence of how SAG-AFTRA has hurt its own members in various ways, something these people seem like they will never admit to. For example, I previously discussed in a different video how SAG-AFTRA changed their own healthcare policies in ways that negatively impacted thousands of their own members.
And I think they also did something that has to do with like AI being like a part of them also.
Proportionately also impacting senior members, and these were people who paid into that healthcare plan for decades that SAG then threw under the bus. And those seniors even brought forth litigation against the union, to which SAG then desperately settled out of court. But now going back to the start of this conversation, what kicked this all off, do you remember how Karina was responding to this person, presumably Crystal? I showed these two images that were included, where we can then presume Crystal had also said something in this deleted post here. Well, we have an update on Crystal, because it looks like these VAs, like Karina and Noah Gibson, have apparently bullied this person into submission. We can see right here, Crystal ends up saying this. I messed up. I'm sorry. I didn't fully understand the strike. I wasn't well informed, even with what I learned of the strike. I thought that someone was being a bully by calling someone a scab. Little did I know, it was just a term when someone crossed the picket line. I thought that scab meant a scab on society, so that's why I was saying that the VA was a bully and that I don't support them. If I knew that there were two meanings of scab instead of one, then I wouldn't have viewed it as bullying. When I kept seeing the word scab being used by that VA, I thought they were purposely bullying them. I know that my words for saying that VA was a bully may have hurt all VA. I am with all VA, because I thought, well, since this person said scab, that they mean a scab on society, block. I know that this apology won't be forgiven for who have called a bully.
Who is
my
this guy
misunderstanding
anyways?
of the word scab. I now know the two definitions of them and what they mean. Thank you for reading this if you have come this far. At Karina, I'm sorry. And Karina responds, saying, hey, no worries, misunderstandings happen. This is why I wanted to believe you and kept talking to you yesterday. I'm glad that we can come to this understanding now.
Oh, so this is probably something that I missed then, that I wasn't even checking out in the video before.
and you still don't have to like me. I know I am prickly as a person, especially over text, but you're clearly a good person, and you doing this shows how good of a person you are. This is such gaslighting, because the word scab is an insult. It's not just a term for when someone crossed the picket line. They literally, in Union history, this term was literally chosen to be a nasty sounding word. It's intentional. Like, it's not just coincidence
How is scab supposed to be sounding nasty?
that scab is like, oh, a scab from like a wound or whatever. And they also use the word scab in this context too, regarding this Union stuff. No, it's very specific why they picked that word. Back in the 18th and 19th century, the word scab also apparently evolving from the word scoundrel. And so if
What the
Karina was
fuck?
honest,
I did not know that. I did not know scab had any involvement with scoundrel.
in my opinion, what Karina should do here is explain, what scab really means, and that it is indeed an insult. But of course, Karina isn't going to mention that, right? Of course. No, instead they're happy to try and mislead people into, oh no, we would never bully anyone, harass Jacob Takanashi, or harass anyone, bully anyone. No, of course not. And so part of the reason I wanted to talk about that was because it was also giving me flashbacks to when Karina was basically bullying this person, this YouTuber Darkos88, because you probably are familiar with this by now, but quick TLDR, Darkos88, according to my recollection, made a YouTube short that was talking about how Karina was trying to get people on TikTok to email Hoyoverse demanding that Hoyoverse sign their agreement, the
Damn.
union agreement, or however they're phrasing it for their strike or whatever they want to call it. And so people in the responses to that YouTube short were saying like, no, don't do this.
Oh,
The
it was a
agreement's
short?
probably bad for X, Y, and Z, going and listing reasons why they disagree with what Karina was demanding. But essentially they were saying like, no, don't listen to Karina, and definitely don't email Hoyoverse demanding that they sign
No,
this agreement.
yeah, like you're just gonna be pressuring something to like, especially for the people that ain't even like. I'm assuming that these are like, she's trying to convince kids to like do all these things, and they're not even gonna be reading into what the hell's gonna be actually happening. Like it could be something that's gonna be either screwing over the fucking the Hoyoverse, and then trying to like like give some to the VAs.
And so Darkos88 then made a follow-up video, saying that he was basically sorry for blindly just going along with whatever Karina had said, and that he should have looked into the situation more, and he sees the critiques that people have towards the union agreement, or once again, however they're phrasing it now. And this ultimately led to Karina seemingly making that crash out video that's now become like iconic, and also this whole rant on Twitter that you're only seeing a part of here, but basically being very toxic towards Darkos88 over this, and eventually getting Darkos88 to delete the video and even apologize. And it just reminded me of how she was treating that person over on Blue Sky too. And in closing, this all circles me back to Jacob Takanashi, and how we saw VAs like Karina attempting to bully Jacob into submission. And in this case, submission probably wasn't just apologizing, but also giving up the role, because they were so upset that he replaced John Patnois, I think the name was, as he hadn't voiced the role for like 6 months, was refusing to work for like 6 months, a part of this collective work.
So he refused the role for 6 months and didn't think he would get replaced? Did he think he had power or something?
Work refusal thing. So Jacob Takanashi accepts the role, very grateful for the work, very thankful for the job, and all his other VAs team up on him and harass him. In this case, trying to get him to submit to their demands, which was
when he's not in a union.
Probably not simply an apology, but also giving up the role. And as we all know, that ended up backfiring tremendously on these VAs, but we can still see how some of them are on Blue Sky. For example, in this video, Karina and Noah, as we went over, are still trying to insult people who dared criticize the union, therefore then labeling them alt-right and trying to get them to apologize, etc., etc. And it's really impressive, actually. It's astonishing how stubborn these VAs are, receiving so much reasonable criticism from people, pointing out issues with how they treat others and issues with their rhetoric, and what do? Oh, they double down.
Yeah, they double down and try to go at people.
Yeah, this ain't
also
character
that's
growth. This is like negative character growth from these people. That's where I'll leave this one.
There is nothing either positive that I've been hearing from these VAs, at least from Hoyoverse. Like, I've been hearing so much, like, either bad things happening or just stuff that they're trying to, like, boycott. Because I feel like I've heard, like, conversations like this happening already.
one. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right. Thank you for that video. Give you a like. All right. Peace out.